I mean, you brought it up. One of the discussions we've had with several of our veterans on this is the loss of identity when you transition out of military service.
Yeah.
You know, like my dad went from Chief George to just Dean. And it's a step that a lot of people deal with, but the spouse also has a different identity once their service member has retired. It's not as drastic, I think, because of the way you were trained in the military and ingrained with it. The spouse still has, it's not like freedom's the wrong word to it, but there's a chance now where you can pursue maybe something you didn't because you were giving for the service member.
It's definitely, I would say that it is harder for the military member.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, the transition from a spouse perspective is just, the onus is on you to be like, now you have to go find friends, because in the military, they're actually spoon fed to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you show up to a unit and we call them hail and farewells. I think they call them hail and bales now.
Okay.
But they have a welcome party for you. You're not in charge of the guest list. You don't even have to bring anything.
Right.
And then when it's time for you to leave, they tell you, "Oh my gosh, we'll miss you. We'll miss you so much."
Here's your plaque.
Here's your plaque. Yeah. And then, but anyways, it's very much spoon fed to you. So probably one of the biggest in that transition, which I do think all military families need to give themselves a year of grace and to be kind to yourself, and that it is a challenge, but you do have value. It just takes you a while to figure out how to present your value, because no one's going to have a welcome party for you.
Right.
Yeah.
But so you might have to be the host if you're new to a neighborhood, you know?
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest challenge, is that.
Gotcha.
And sometimes a military spouse can be super helpful to the military member if they've been involved in PTOs or PTAs or in a club sport.
Acronyms.
Parent-teacher association or parent-teacher organization. But anyways, that is a way that you can help your military member. Just be like, hey, both of our children were high school swimmers. So I was like, hey, guess what, Scott? You're a timer. You're a timer in lane 5. And, and just so that can be very helpful from a spouse perspective if they have been already integrated. In our case, our kids were still in school. So being integrated in school activities was a way, to this day, is how we've met all of our friends.
Very dear friends.
In Colorado Springs was through that network.
That's awesome. I love that. Now when did you decide, okay, I want to start working again?
Probably like did some things like when the boys were in high school, when they were driving and able to get themselves from point A to point B. But anything that I did, it was always on a part-time basis, because I still wanted to they were still in our house and in school and wanted to be available for them, but also wanted to enjoy it because it is fleeting, right? Like when they go off to college, all of a sudden those years start to speed up. I remember saying to both of our children went to the Naval Academy. I remember saying to one of them, I don't remember which one, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're halfway through college. How can that be?
Yeah.
And the response was, yeah, because you're not there for the everyday grind. Like for me, it went by really fast.
Yeah.
Right.
For them. But it's a fleeting time, and I wanted to enjoy it. And I'm so glad I was given the opportunity to do that.
Okay.
And they needed her leadership, to be fair. I mean, right? The guidance and keeping them on track, and the academics and the sports and the student government. And, they both got into the Naval Academy and both attended the Naval Academy. And people assume it's because I was in the Navy. It's actually because of Lisa's guidance and leadership of them. I was gone.
Yeah. As an airline pilot, you're still gone a lot.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
you still don't get to see him very much, do you?
Sometimes we say that's the magic, what keeps us together.
There you go. My parents said once my dad retired, they were like, now we're going to spend time together and actually get to be together. And then they said, but the secret to a happy marriage is separate bathrooms.
Yeah.
So, every works different for everybody. So then you said, we were talking, you just started a new position.
Brand
recently.
new. Like brand spanking new.
Right?
So I am part-time helping with doing events with a small boutique firm out of Chicago, MHG. They do a lot of different things, but they do grant writing and events and orchestration of that for a lot of nonprofits. And
Very cool.
Yeah. And I actually met this group through the Blue Angel Foundation.
Yes, we're going to segue there in a second.
Which is great. But literally 4 weeks into it. So But well, first impression is amazing.
I would think as a military spouse, that would actually be a very viable career for you because you end up doing, there's events and there's stuff on the base and there's stuff you're dealing with, and especially when you're wife and everything, there's all those levels of different things you have to do. So it kind of would be event planning to me, would not surprise me for a military spouse to flow well into.
Lisa did it out of Pepperdine too, and she's a phenomenal event planner.
Way back in the mid 90s.
It's okay. It was a good time. I was there too. It's a good time. So now, so you've transitioned out. You ended up getting a great, which we tell people, and I love that you said grace because I tell them all the time, maybe the path that you take when you get out of military service turns out not to be the career you thought you wanted, turned out not to be. And it's okay that you try something else. Yeah.
Something different.
And everyone who gets out of the military is still relatively young.
Yeah. And
because the military is a young person's game.
It can be. Yeah. And you have to, in the military, you're moving and changing and everything. Yes, you have a career, and my dad was supply, but the bases changed and the job changed and how many people reported to him changed, as you go. And so it is something that you should be, when you get out, you need to give yourself the grace that it's okay that if the path you originally picked didn't end up being the path that worked out for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's between the loss of identity and the fact that the original plan didn't work out, that's a big struggle for a lot of people transitioning out of service.
And some of it is just whatever your military job was is not a direct translation into the civilian world. So figuring out how to market yourself to be like, hey, this is what I did in the military, and this is what that, civilian, equivalent can be.
But and the skill sets,
and
right?
the skill
leadership
set,
or the management skill sets, or even the follower skill sets, and how that applies into the civilian world.
And that takes a while to figure out.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite things, so with my company, I've talked about this, you all know, with my company, we do a special hiring program with veterans. We talk about transitioning out of service, how to write a resume. And one of the cool things is now there's several websites that have them, including the DoD has one up, and it is a military to civilian world translator. And you can put in your rank, you can put in your position, and it will tell you how to
That's
that on
fantastic.
Your resume. And that is so long overdue because that is needed because military people speak military speak, civilian people speak civilian people speak, and sometimes they don't meet in the middle.
Right.
I know a little bit.
To bridge that gap. Right. Bridge the gap.
I know a little bit being the daughter of a veteran, but I sure as heck don't know as much as my mom knew lingo wise, and now I do work with them, but it's different. It's, I don't delve into that. Like I have acronyms that I deal with at work, and my husband and I laugh because he'll have the same acronyms, but they need something different in the real estate world than they do in my world. And it's just like the craziness on it. Now, so you brought up Blue Angels Foundation. So what got you involved with Blue Angels Foundation? How did that come about?
So we had been at United for 7-8 years. I had been asked to come out and do some speaking at a Blue Angel Foundation event.
Okay.
Just based on my background. And it happened to be at Annapolis. The kids are out there. It was at the Naval Academy.
Sure.
And that turned out to be a very successful event. And they liked what I had done for them. Had not been involved at all to that point.
Okay.
They asked me to, actually, they didn't ask me to join the board. It was the 75th anniversary of the Blues. Back in 2021.
Okay.
And we went to that as a family. We were getting ready to go to a big gala event. And our oldest son got a phone call that his Naval Academy roommate had taken his life. And it was devastating to all of us because we knew him very, very well. Von Solomon, a remarkable human being. And that was a pivotal moment in my life. I had been very successful doing a lot of things, and now in my 50s, right, where am I going to vector my energy and my attention? And at that moment, I'm like, I've got a voice, and this is where I'm going to put my attention. And so they asked me to join the board. was on the board for a year and a half, and they asked me to take over as the president. I'm just finishing, actually, we're into our third year now as the president of the foundation.
Yeah, you are.
And so that's how I got involved in it.
Okay.
And it is a full-time job that I am an unpaid volunteer for. That
they add a zero every year to that paycheck, don't they?
That's right. But I'm passionate about it, and I can put a lot of energy into it. I have the opportunity to do
And
that.
please explain for our viewers what the Blue Angels Foundation is about, what it does.
Sure. So the Blue Angels Foundation is a separate arm from the Blue Angels. And we raise funds based on the brand of the team. We say that it's founded in trust, the same trust that allows us to fly together. And I hope that many of you, when you think of the Blue Angels, you think of the trust and the respect and the precision and the excellence. And so veterans can come to us, veterans, family members, active duty, to seek our direct services partners, and donors can trust that we will maximize their dollars in the support of veterans. And so we have three primary channels. The first is transitional housing. We partner with Warrior Foundation out of San Diego. And we have built transitional housing, veterans coming out of occupational and physical therapy out of Balboa Hospital. Military will say, hey, go ahead and, you're good, go home. And now they're at home by themselves. They may or may not have the ramps for their wheelchairs. They may or may not have worked much with their prosthetics. And now we create this mental health challenge. So the transitional housing, the third unit that we built in San Diego, is built in a horseshoe with a fire pit in the middle. They can live there for free. There are 16 different units. It varies per housing tract, but now they fall because their prosthetic fell off, or they slip, or they just have a crappy day. They can go out to the fire pit, and I might be talking to Lisa and say, my prosthetic fell, I couldn't get up, I was crying on the kitchen floor, and Lisa could say, I had a similar challenge with that. And now we're sharing our shared experience and moving through it together, and they can stay as long as they would like. Now they're allowed. We used to only have the veteran that lived there, and now they can live there with a spouse or partner as well, so that they can learn to live together.
And it's called Freedom Station, right?
Freedom Station, yeah. And so Freedom Station out of San Diego, under the umbrella of Warrior Foundation, Freedom Station. And we're very proud of that. It's been a very successful partnership. And then nationally, we've partnered with Home Base, which is part of the Red Sox Foundation. They provide direct services for PTSD. Now, the VA does remarkable work, but they're a big entity. And so Home Base has kind of spearheaded intensive PTSD treatment at the success rate of 97.4%, but it's a 2-week treatment. So when you think about our veterans, and this is for civilians who think, why don't they just go to the VA and get the help they need? Because you can get an appointment, a mental health, physical, or behavioral health appointment about every 6 weeks. And so you just never really get the progress. Home Base, we send veterans there for 2 weeks.
Intensive.
They're meeting 8 hours a day, intensive, and they're actually able to turn the corner. And so veterans, family members, active duty can go there. Very integrated with the special warfare community. And we opened up a facility in Pensacola, Florida. We opened one up in Houston. We're in talks to open additional facilities up in Pensacola. And so this is the way the model works. The Blue Angel Foundation is the brand. We are a juggernaut because we have this brand that is national, like Coca-Cola, Microsoft. It's a big brand. And we can do the fundraising. We find a local hospital or treatment facility that wants to work with us, and then Home Base will come in and train their care providers how to provide the treatment. And so we are expanding that significantly. We're wanting to move into Montana, Illinois, Maryland. We want to get into Seattle, San Francisco, and some of the bigger veteran population areas. But like I said, it's a full-time job, and Lisa's a saint because I am gone all the time.
saint.
I'm a saint.
Look at you,
Well, I
saint.
fly for United Airlines, which has me gone, but I'm also a premier 1K traveler because I travel so much and, with the foundation or doing speaking events, doing fundraising around the country. So I'm home 6 days in February this year.
Yeah.
Done a lot.
Yeah. I have had the advantage to see Intake speak and look up online. He is one of the most fabulous keynotes you will ever see in your life. You are a fantastic speaker. I love watching you speak. You engage your audience in a way most wouldn't.
Thank you for that, Stevie. But you got us for acronyms. FAIR. You said Intake, and your audience is going,
that's his call sign. Scott Intake Kartvedt. Yes, that is his call sign.
I have a big nose, and I take in more than my fair share of air. That's how I got Intake. So.
I love it. What I love is when we talk about the mental health resources, because there are so many options out there. The more we get those resources available to people are big.
Yep.
We've had on this show, we had QRF up. They invented an app, and it's a free app. And if you push the button, you actually get to talk to a veteran or first responder who has been trained to talk to you. And then if needed, they can let emergency crews notify your location so they can get you and protect you and help prevent a horrific event. That was one that we had on here. We've also had a couple of speakers come in. We have from 22 Warriors, Bill Elmo came in here talking about, he's dealt with a lot of PTSD. And of course, the drugs weren't the route for him, but neurologically, he's found some treatments that have helped where they do stimulators in the head, and it helps you work through it that way too. And I just love that we're finding more than just one way.
Oh, absolutely, we are.
You know, there's more avenues to pursue because each individual person's gonna handle something differently.
Yep.
You know, and that's one of the biggest things I find when you go through this. Like when my father was first diagnosed, and we were going to every oncologist he went to said, "Oh, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do this, you do that, you do this." And my dad kept saying, "Is anybody going to look at me as an individual and look into what I have and maybe take a moment to think about it outside of we do step 1, step 2, step 3?"
Yeah.
You know, especially when we come down to it's not always going to be.
And it's really interesting, right? First responders, military personnel. In fact, most human beings don't want to raise their hand and say, "I'm not
I need help."
Right. And I need help.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so there are so many nonprofit entities out there that support our veterans. It's fabulous. But the veteran has to be able to make the call.
Right.
And they're the ones that have to have the courage and the strength to say, "I'm going to seek help."
Yep.
And so to all of the listeners, if you think you need help, ask, and the resources will come funneling in. But make the ask. Nobody will judge you. Nobody will think less of you. And it's a courageous thing to do.
If anything, people will applaud you.
And they will absolutely applaud you for coming forward to seek the help. I mean, we call it PTSD. It's not a disorder.
No.
PTSI. It's a post-traumatic stress injury.
Yep.
That is caused from trauma. It may not be military. It could be some semblance of sexual assault. It can happen to civilians. It could be trauma related. But until you raise your hand to get the help for that injury, which happens to be here instead of here, that's the first step. So ask.
That one of the things we have talked about consistently on the show is you are not weak if you feel something's off. You are not failing if you have to go ask for help. You are not. If you don't feel comfortable, then you reach out to us and we will connect you with someone. You are not alone in the battle, ever. At any point, at any pathway, you are not alone. And that is one of the hardest things, I think. And when we've talked to, we've had a couple different people on, and one of our veterans was talking about, and I always come back to this story, he was at an event where other veterans were, and he wasn't talking about his front line and how it had affected him. And he ended up having another vet start talking to him about their frustration and what they were going through. And his discussion with him opened up the door for him to be able to be comfortable to have that conversation. Those are available too. You know,
we actually were in talks with the city of Pensacola and Mayor Reed. They want to give us a building and we're going to open a fitness center, Warrior Fitness, with home base. And what we found is that you open up free fitness centers and exactly what you are talking about happens, right? We're lifting weights. We're having a great time. How's everything going? I'm not sleeping well. Oh, why aren't you sleeping well? I wake up with these nightmares. Oh, that happened to me too. And now you talked about veterans and supporting each other. And if one of them finds a path, the other one will be more trusting.
Yeah.
And it's an organic conversation.
It's super organic conversation.
It is.
It's not clinical.
No.
It's not someone trying to diagnose you.
Yeah, and let's face it, if you are going to be more open and be able to relate and talk to someone who has been through what you are going through, then you are someone who appreciate therapists and counselors and everyone who gets their degree to do it. But if you haven't lived it, they're not going to be able to have the conversation with you as they are with someone else who has lived the same thing. There's just that trust to play. And let's face it, service members don't naturally trust other than their unit.
Well, it's interesting. So the therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, exceptionally great at what they do. But if Lisa, as a veteran and a spouse, says, I have this great therapist and help me work through the challenges of Scott being gone. And she tells another spouse that I might be more inclined to go see them.
Right.
As opposed to just picking up the phone or
cold
typing in Google and having a conversation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's important.
It's huge. It's huge. And I've known my whole life that if a military spouse or a service member recommended to another something, odds are highly the other was going to go that route. They were that business, whatever. It's just that word of mouth is always been so strong in the military community. That's where you lean. That's where you get referrals, from it. So I think that's true in life. Civilian world just doesn't see it as much as I've seen it in the military world. Yeah. So it's just a natural thing in the military space to have to it. So, all right. So you've done the military career. You've been a Blue Angel. Then you got out of the military and you went in and worked for United and you're flying planes all around the place. Do you fly international or just domestic?
Canada, Mexico, so down to the Bahamas, Virgin Islands. So yes.
Okay. So yes, he does. And then you get in the Blue Angel Foundation. And you're president and you're doing all these speaking engagements. You're doing that. But he was bored, people. There was something else for him to do. And that something else was Hollywood, because Hollywood came calling. So please, because the man who watched Top Gun, which made him want to be a Navy fighter pilot in the first place, then ended up being an advisor on Top Gun Maverick. How, what, where? Yeah. Explain what happened, my friend.
Great question. So 33 years after seeing it in 1986, at United, I got asked to run the United Airlines flight demonstration team, which is they fly a 777 in San Francisco Fleet Week. They're beginning to expand on that a bit, but because of my experience with the Blues, I was asked to run that team. No problem. I said, yes, be happy to run it. And help organize as a liaison between the company, the FAA, the air show producer. We went to the first show, 2017, in San Francisco in that role. And there was a group there called the Patriot Jet Team. The Patriot Jet Team, I'd never seen them fly. 6-ship formation, much like the Thunderbirds, the Blues, the Snowbirds, but a civilian entity. One of the members of that team, the number 6 pilot, I flew on the Blues with. His name was Scott End. His call sign is Banker. They were parked at the United ramp where our 777 was parked, and I saw Banker, and he said, hey, Dake, how are you? How's Lisa? How's the family? Same thing. How's Fawn? About 30 seconds into the conversation, he says, hey, we're looking for a number 5 pilot. Are you interested? And what did I say?
Yes.
Yeah, sure, I'm interested, because I always say yes. So that's how I got involved with the Patriots. The Patriots got the cinematography contract for Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
Because of my combat experience, they asked me to help train the actors and actresses and take them up in our jets so that they could experience dogfighting before they got into the F-18s. That was in December No, sorry, fall of 2018.
And they fly L-39 jets, the Patriots.
Yeah.
As far as what jets they fly.
And so we went down to Camarillo, which is just north of Los Angeles, took the actors and actresses out and flew them for a couple of days. I thought, wow, I got to pinch myself. How does that happen?
Right.
That I got to be involved with Top Gun 2 or Maverick. And then in June of 2019, they were filming the final fight scene, which is when Maverick and Rooster steal the F-14 and fight their way back to the ship, the last 7 minutes of the movie. And I got a call from my friend Randy Howell, and he said, hey, we need to film this final fight scene. They need another stunt pilot. Will you do it? And it's with Randy. And I said, yeah, of course.
Right.
And so we went out to Chico, where we did the filming in the Middle Fork of the Feather River in Central California. And we did a week of filming in the canyons. Then we went back to Camarillo and did a week of filming out over the ocean. And so that's how I ended up 33 years after seeing the movie, becoming a stunt pilot in the movie.
So when you watch the movie, or if you've seen the movie, at the end of the movie, Rooster and Maverick are in the plane and they're being chased by the other plane. You know the plane Rooster and Maverick are in? You know who's flying that sucker? He's sitting right there. That man right there. So.
And all the flying in Top Gun Maverick was legitimate. It was not CGI flying.
Yeah.
It was legitimate.
It was legitimate flying. The F-18 flying were by men and women, and currently active duty. It was all legitimate flying. It was not CGI at all, which is pretty fantastic.
That's so much. And I just love how it came full circle. For being the Top Gun to be in the, and then you're actually in, and you're in it because you are flying that plane. You were in
You're
that.
not going to see this. This is the radio face.
I don't know about that, but that was so exciting. Now, and then that led, you actually ended up working on the last Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible Final Reckoning.
Yeah.
And so I didn't work with Tom in Maverick.
Okay.
I worked with Glenn and Monica and several of the others, but the part that we filmed, they were done with, they needed the flying footage. And so we went out and filmed that. And then I got a call, 2022, I think, from Tom's sister, Cass. And she said, hey, will you take a call with Tom? Sure, of course.
Okay.
There's only one answer to that.
Right, yes.
There is only one
His wife's like, you have to say yes.
And so I jumped on a Zoom call with he and Chris McQuarrie and kind of the department heads of Mission Impossible to go out to South Africa and be the aviation safety supervisor for the final scene in Final Reckoning, which is an aviation scene.
Okay.
And we were out there, I think it was 7 weeks. 6 or 7 weeks.
It was longer than that, but yes.
October to
December.
Early December out in South Africa, Drakensberg, South Africa. It was unbelievable.
Now, my favorite part of this story is when Lisa dropped her husband off at the airport so he could fly to South Africa. She said to him, don't kill Tom Cruise.
Well, yeah.
As the safety guy, and I was like, don't kill Tom Cruise. That's all you'll ever be remembered for.
No pressure, just saying.
Yeah.
Keep it safe.
So how different is it to go from, like, I mean, you do the flight instructor, you've led so many people, but when you're advising like on a movie set with aviation safety, I mean, that's got to be a very different.
It wasn't that different. It was kind of like the safety aspect. Everybody on an aircraft carrier is a safety officer in essence, right? So you have $1 billion ship and you have $80 million planes, helicopters, E-2s, Ospreys, whatever on the deck of the carrier. And so you're constantly seeking ways to improve and be better. Fast forward to Drakensberg, South Africa, and at the peak, we had 14 helicopters, 5 fixed wing. We had 6 forward operating bases. And so we would meet in the morning at the main facility. I would lead the safety brief. We would talk about what we were going to do for the day. But all of the remote locations to film, we needed to get hair and makeup, costume, catering. And so we would meet and there'd be 300 people, I think is the most we got up to. But we'd have to load them onto helicopters and ferry them to the location.
Okay.
Set up. Tom, who's an exceptional pilot, would fly himself in his helicopter, land at the remote site, and then we would begin filming for the day. At the end of the day, once we got the filming that we needed, Tom would depart. Then we would break down the forward operating base, fly everybody back to Honey Bowl, which was the name of the primary base facility, and then go home, come back the next day, and do it all again. It was very much like working on an aircraft carrier because it was full-time, 24/7 to get the job done.
Now, you don't fly helicopter.
No, I am not a licensed helicopter pilot.
Okay. Just checking.
But I'm going to use my GI Bill to do that because it's all.
I was going to say, you say yes to everything. I kind of would be surprised.
I had a blast in South Africa in the helicopter. We had a remarkably good.
We did, my husband and I did on our honeymoon in Hawaii, we did a helicopter tour around Oahu, and they did the doors open.
Yeah.
And the pilot, apparently in Hawaii, you can be 16 and be a licensed helicopter pilot. And I thought she was 14. And so we were flying and I was uncomfortable the whole time. Like, I'm gripping the outside. My husband was like, babe, your ring's on that hand. You don't want to grip outside. And I'm like, that's what insurance is for, kind of thing. And I don't know why. It just, that one I was uncomfortable. But then in San Diego, we did another one and the doors weren't open. And we're flying over San Diego and around and and I loved that one. And my husband was like, he was going really fast on that one. I was like, maybe, I don't know, maybe the girl was just, the way we did that flight over Hawaii, I think it was the open doors. Was what got me on it.
Feeling more exposed.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, one, I'm a controlling person. I like to control. I can be on a plane and I understand what's happening with the thermals coming off the ground and why certain things are doing this and that. But if I'm not the one controlling it, it can get to me. So ironically, here's a little trick for you. My dad taught me, as long as there's not a do not stand up warning on the plane that you're on, if you get up and just walk, like go to the restroom or just get up and walk a couple rows back and come back up. The motion of standing up or something like helps rebalance me in the plane. And then it won't bother me as much that I'm not in control of it. He said, because you feel like you had control because you got up and you walked. That's my little twitch in my brain. Might help you out if you have it too. Well, so I think it's so funny and so fascinating because you just have done a little bit of everything and you've gotten to be a part and do things too and see things. Now,
but I didn't get to meet Tom Cruise.
I'm sorry.
And as a person who grew up in the 80s, it's a travesty.
It is a travesty. It is a travesty.
You know what? When you came and spoke at my group, Kathy was like, oh my gosh, I love Tom. And I'm thinking, I think his wife would get to meet Tom first. I'm right. You would get.
Yeah.
That was the flag that came up.
Yeah.
So you melded fine in the Hollywood filmmaking.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a fantastic experience. Tom is exceptional. We worked together every day while we were over there. He's there with Michael Jordan and Tom Brady and those that are the very, very, very best of their profession, right? Mm-hmm. He is the pinnacle. The GOAT, if you will. But what makes him exceptional is, I'm sure like others at that level, he'll listen, but his expectations are you perform at this level. And so my experience with the Blues, the Patriots, and the things that I have done in my life, okay, I can meet you and work here at this level and keep you safe. So I found him remarkable.
Very cool.
To work with. Very,
very cool. That is awesome. So when you met him and you started dating him, he was going to be an accountant. What a fun roller coaster adventure you have been on, my friend.
I think roller coaster covers it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it wasn't what you necessarily expected.
No, but I met Scott in college. What do you expect when you're in college?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. What has been your favorite experience on this wild ride?
I've actually just enjoyed it all. Sometimes people say, oh, what was your favorite like tour? Mm-hmm. And I could honestly say at this age and looking back, it's about the people you're with at those moments. Mm-hmm. And I've been blessed with wonderful friends if it be moments when our kids were super young or friends that we've met post-military. It's just those people that are with you at whatever that moment in time is. So I don't necessarily have one favorite.
Gotcha.
There's certainly places I maybe enjoyed more than others, but any military family can attest when you're new to a station or new to a community, it takes about 6 months for you to like figure out what's what or who's who in the zoo. And then a place that you maybe pulled into town to be like, oh dear God, how long is this tour? When do we get to leave? And then by the time you actually get to that point, you're like, I can't believe we're leaving. It just takes you a while. But I have been blessed throughout our entire journey to be with great people.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Very, very cool. And
one of the greatest pieces of advice we got, which we executed in Washington when we lived in Washington, D.C., was take we had a magnet with a piece of paper on it on the refrigerator. And if any of us wanted to go somewhere, we heard of something to do, we would write it. Okay. And a list of things to do on the weekend. And then the Friday would roll around. We go, okay, we're going to go do this. But the list just kept growing and growing and growing. And so our family was always exceptional about going out and immersing into.
And being a tourist.
Yeah, being a tourist in the cities that we lived in. So.
That was one thing my parents taught us. Whenever we went outside the U.S., we had to immerse into the culture. We had to give the food a try. The rule was you don't ever have to eat it again, but you try it once and you see. And that's why I have the palate that I have. And ironically, my husband, he's pretty open to trying new things because I eat some stuff he's never heard of. I love yakisoba. I love pancit. I love, lumpia. I mean, especially South Pacific, Japanese and all pretty much Asian food I'm all about. But, and that was like when we went to Hawaii, that was his first time in exposure to Hawaiian food. And now he loves it, he's like, oh, that's good stuff, because you just don't know if you don't try it. So I think that the advantage of having been the child of a military service member and the spouse who was in it, not only did I get to see a dynamic love story because they were happily in love with each other, still attracted to each other, all the way until we lost Dad. They have had one of the best love stories I've ever witnessed. And then going through what the military throws at you, because it throws stuff at you no matter where you do, and handling it, and then that transition out and going, because there's still going to be stuff you're going to run into that's going to be funky and different. I mean, you and I were just talking about the weather messing with you being a pilot, and if you got stuck or set in anything, you never know what's going to happen. So I love that you guys have had such a fun adventure together.
Yes, for sure.
It, and we
have had that.
Yeah. And it is, you guys are a partnership. You can see that. I love that you guys are together and found each other, because I think that's awesome to see. I mean, if you were in a relationship, it didn't work with the military, it's okay. Sometimes that happens, and then you find somebody else that's okay. Not everybody gets right out the gate. Remember, it took me 40 years to find mine. So, it doesn't always play out the way we think in our heads it's going to play. So, the Norman Rockwell painting doesn't exist. No, it does not. It does not. So I wanted to give you a few minutes to let our audience know if they want to support Blue Angels Foundation, how the varied ways they can support, what they can do, how they can help. So yours, my friend.
Sure. So one, supporting any veteran organization is a worthy cause. The sacrifices that are made, as many of your listeners know, are instrumental, especially for the family members. So I would recommend any veteran organization, support them. And then it's interesting, whenever somebody finds out that they're a veteran, people say, thank you for your service. I might recommend asking them if they have found their team or found their tribe, how they're doing, rather than just the thank you is wonderful, but the inclusiveness is critical. And then if you want to support the Blue Angels Foundation, we're not going to turn any support away. BlueAngelsFoundation.org. You can give directly to the foundation. We are a 4 out of 4 star rated charity navigator organization. And in order to do that, at least 70% of the funds needs to go to the activity that the nonprofit says they're doing. So we would love to have your support, and we appreciate everything that you have done. And thank you for this.
Sweet, simple, and to the point. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. I want to thank you both so much for taking the time to come out and be on the show. I appreciate you greatly. We will get Blue Angels added to the website as well. The people can go there if they need to for it. Thank you for not only serving our country, you did too, my dear.
Thank you very much.
So thank you, you hero on the home front.
But also for coming in here and continuing to serve and reaching out to those and others that are out there, because it is very important and it is key. And I think it's a part of what makes us, successful as we go.
So I appreciate it greatly.
Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. Come back anytime you want. Hang out. All right, guys, it is that time. You know what you need to do. Like, share, follow. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. Good night. I'm on TikTok. Lord help us. Oh, my gosh. We are on YouTube, Spotify, and the Apple Podcast. Don't forget to check out our website at homefrontharmony.org. We are so grateful you joined us. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you next time.
Faded photographs cover